actual...
Hey!
There we go, and we're live with the Dummy Big Gamer Show.
Gosh dang, man. This is definitely the side effect of, like, minimal sleep, having played Apex for 24 hours. Yeah, it's been good, though.
Yeah, we played a lot of Apex last night. Apex Season 8 is out. We can talk about that. Is it Season 8 or Season 7?
Season 8. Yeah, Season 8, Fuse. Shout out to all my fellow Fuse mains. Gang, only grenades from now on. Triple stacking and quadruple stacking the thermite grenades and only running grenades. It's been nice.
You cracked me up because you were super confident that you were not going to be a Fuse main.
Yeah.
And you were saying that you were going to get good with, was it Horizon or Watson?
As a counter.
To counter Fuse.
Yeah.
Because you didn't, I think you just wanted to go against the grain.
I'm a contrarian. Yeah.
You don't want to be one of the thousands of Fuse mains this season. But
right.
That said, at the same time, looking at Fuse and watching those trailers, I was like, this perfectly aligns with the way that you play Apex Legends.
Nice and aggressive, a lot of grenade throws.
Very aggressive.
Yeah.
You love grenades.
Yeah.
Fuse can fit multiple grenades, like stacks of nades in his inventory.
Yeah. It's been nice. I really enjoyed like his ability to sort of like set up a little like kettle that people have to stay in.
Oh, this is great.
So Jake is using a borrowed chair that has like the hydraulics.
Rolling away too.
That has the hydraulic system of like an '87 Chevy that's been like lifted or something.
Yeah.
It's been nice. So Jake is running the chair.
I love this so much.
Yeah, dude, it's an in-person recording.
Look at us.
It's so good.
Two lads.
Two lads.
I can give you hugs. I can give you smooches on the cheek.
Yeah, Jake has been here, so I've been giving him hot stock tips now that I'm a billionaire from Wall Street bets.
Oh,
so
we haven't recorded in 2 weeks.
Yeah, so we've missed all of like the GameStop stuff. I think you even talked about like the
Talked about it a little bit.
We talked about GameStop early on though, like how GameStop was getting huge, like early on in the arc, and I'm kind of an idiot for not investing in GameStop earlier.
Oh, but we both are 100%.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm coming from the perspective of like I don't know enough about stonks or any of that shit to like know when to get in, on any of that. So it's something that like I observed from the sidelines. Then now I regret not doing because people that got in are like,
billionaires now.
are rolling.
It kind of stinks because I always feel late to that. But the entire situation going on has been hilarious. Like watching the complete and total crazy people from Reddit gang on like this is going to be like a cultural revolution, and really it's just people pumping and dumping a stock, and it's pretty funny.
How crazy is it? Like the only relation to the game sphere is that it is about GameStop. Like if this were about any other failing
I would not
business
care at all.
Like it's just weird that the two sort of zones have like crossed over here, where it's like our only correlation to this is that it's GameStop. So like all of the gaming podcasts and channels are talking about it.
Yeah. People who have no business talking about the stock market have been talking about the stock market.
Yeah.
And that's kind of been great entertainment for me because there's no one I want to get stock advice more than like Pump and Dump Plunger 69 on Reddit. Like that person sounds like a great person to get advice.
It's good though that like so many people are also like trying to educate themselves on it, because these fuckers, these people, they rely on our ignorance of like
that's fair.
Them pulling the wool over all of our eyes about all of this, like how they manage to short stocks and like all that good stuff. And again, I'm one of those people.
Yeah,
that doesn't understand.
The woefully ignorant.
Yeah, so like it's good that so many people I think are like this is in the consciousness now of so many people that are like aware of that. Like, oh man, these people are shitty, and like actually like it's intentionally deceptive. Like all of the like words and verbiage and acronyms, like all of that is by design. It's not that you're stupid and you don't like, oh, I just don't understand stocks. Like it is intentionally convoluted.
The fact
for that
that
reason.
it's a feature, not a bug, that it's so confusing for people. Yeah, and I think that like it says a lot that people were throwing all of their money into it just out of spite because of Wall Street, and like you've seen that like there are these big companies that have made billions of dollars through the pandemic. Meanwhile, people are like, I can't eat. So I think that it's been wild to watch people throw their life savings into GameStop stock, of all things, just to like spite invest. It's been absolutely unreal.
Been cool.
But
what a meme.
Yeah, that's been kind of the main thing I've been following. That, and then like spending way too much time on Apex. We're close to gold. You and I have been playing ranked a lot. We're getting close to gold.
Silver one.
Kevin from the Discord has already gotten up in there. By the way, he's Lethal Slushy on all of his streaming stuff. You can follow him.
Yep.
He's been going crazy. But yeah, Apex has been kind of popping off. There's a few things that are going on, like there's the Mass Effect remaster dropping that I know people are excited about. I missed the Mass Effect train, so that's not really been something that I've been sort of clued in on, but apparently it's getting like a full remaster. I know some people on our Facebook page or our Facebook group have been like absolutely wigging out over it. So I'm stoked for you guys though, because again, even if I'm not really like down with the game, I can still be super excited that one is coming out for it. So
yeah, so remaster, not remake, right?
Yeah.
Like it's not from the ground up rebuilding.
They're cleaning it up a little bit.
How do you do you have a stance on the whole like remaster versus remake argument? Are you one of those people that's like, do you still get stoked for remasters, like rejuvenating all the old like 360 PS3 games?
So I got really pumped
because for a while it was like that. It felt like that was all that we got. It's just like these companies digging back through their sort of old treasure trove of games and just trying to make a buck on old properties because people still feel nostalgia for those games. Yeah,
well, everyone in their late 20s would pay any amount of money to feel anything at this point. So I think that sort of cashing in on nostalgia is a good move.
Yeah.
I think that I was really stoked for the Reach remaster. I think that was really cool. The Halo series and like all of those remastered for PC got me really excited. I still love playing it every now and then. In fact, we probably are going to play some today.
I guess those are kind of remasters.
Yeah.
Like they're basically just straight ports that they ported over to the PC, but they did add like some visual improvements. And
yeah. So visual improvements on games, I think especially stuff like Mass Effect, which even earlier on kind of needed that anyway. I think that that's going to be a cool thing for people. I support it. I think that anything people, I mean, it's your decision to jump in and buy it anyway, so
yeah,
I say go off. It's cool.
Looking for like actual details on the Mass Effect Legendary Edition, like what they actually improved. I noticed like most of the improvements are going towards the first game because the first game is obviously the one that needs it the most. But in terms of just like, I know they sort of updated the combat in that. There's a lot of lens flare now.
Yeah, that's good.
There's a lot of lens flare. I think it might even go to like.
It's nice to not be able to see what's going on a game.
BioWare, Mass Effect. Oh my God, zoom out because we were zoomed in on those mommy milky tall vampire lady titties. All right. Mass Effect Legendary Edition will alter camera angles for butt shots. That was something that I saw too. I guess there was like in the first game. Maybe in the other ones too. I've only ever played the first one, but there were like these weird shots of like asses. So they've like removed that. Here, yeah, let's open that.
That's absolutely. I'm so confused.
BioWare announced the release date and new details is from Polygon for the much anticipated Mass Effect Legendary Edition this week. While the biggest updates in the remaster to the series are cosmetic, one specific change piqued the interest and ire of fans. The remaster will alter camera cuts that focus on characters' butts.
Did it do like the male gaze thing where like a character walks in and it would just like that's a thing like in all Michael Bay movies and stuff like that, you'll have a shot where like the chick walks in then it immediately just shows her butt, and that's kind of cool. But I would say check your priorities if the biggest thing you're upset about in a remaster is not seeing an animated booty. Like, maybe...
I think I've just altered my stance. I don't think I'm going to pick this thing up now.
Because they're removing the animated booties in it?
They're taking out the booties. What's even the point of playing this game now?
What's the point of playing this massive space RPG if there's no
If I can't
butts?
get an ass with, like, lens flare plastered over it, what's even the point?
Arcing over the cheek as if it's an eclipse. Yeah.
Yeah, and Timothy says Valheim is good as fucking new. Thank you for commenting something that's not relevant to what we're actually talking about.
It's contributing to the discussion. Jake, I wish more people would comment on the stream. Also, Jake,
I know, Tim.
Absolutely belligerent to anyone who doesn't want to talk about 9-foot-tall vampire mommy or butts in Mass Effect.
No, I haven't heard about Valheim. I haven't really. It's like this new like Norse game that's come out. It looks cool, I guess.
Yeah.
I need to look more into it, but
Kind of maybe cashing in on that area where Assassin's Creed fell short, maybe.
Tim said unsubscribe. That's fine. Good riddance. Good riddance. Yeah, so Mass Effect, I am kind of in the same boat as you. Like, I played the first one, and I loved it. And have you played any Mass Effect at all?
None. Hadn't touched it.
I think you would legitimately really, really like it.
Yeah?
Like, it's like... Yeah, it's like a Star Wars-y, like, you played KOTOR, right?
Yeah.
So that's also BioWare. So it's like if KOTOR, it's like a little bit more updated version of KOTOR.
It's like if KOTOR were good.
Oof. Oof.
Look, we talked about this at breakfast. Like, I am so tired of people telling me to play KOTOR, especially in its current state on PC where, like, it's not functioning hardly at all. Like, I can't compete with whatever nostalgia people have for this game. I didn't play it like vanilla and early on enough to like form an emotional attachment to KOTOR.
Yeah.
But I've really tried to jump into it now, and it's borderline unplayable on PC. And if you have found a different experience, please reach out to me. I want to learn and I want to enjoy this game. But I've just not enjoyed its current state. So maybe Mass Effect is the answer for me. Until, like, the new Star Wars MMO or RPG comes out. Because they're going to do that eventually.
Sure. And I think, like, that's where some of the trepidation comes from for me, is, like, bringing back all of these really old games. Mm-hmm. Like, a lot of us are looking at these games through, like, rose-colored glasses, I think, where it's like, we remember them being incredible, life-altering experiences. And for the time, like, they were.
Yeah.
But then the danger in bringing back some of those properties that are that old is that it doesn't live up to the memory that you expected. And a lot of the mechanics and gameplay don't feel as smooth or buttery as they once did.
Yeah.
And so my worry is that it's going to come out and, like, it is, because it is a remake and not a remaster and not a building from the ground up of the Mass Effect series, that a lot of these people are going to get a little disappointed, because it's not like an entire redo, like it's something like the Resident Evil 2 remake or something like that.
Yeah. Anything that you've built up in your head you'll be disappointed if you expect it to be remotely as good as you remember. Because I think a lot of us, we look back at these old games, and if you are able to sort of compartmentalize enough to not compare it with contemporary products, you're going to be okay.
Yeah.
But I have had so many people, like my brother, his favorite game is Fallout New Vegas, and I have tried so hard to, like, force myself to really get into the world and get immersed in it. But again, it's an RPG where, like, immersion is everything, but I'm having to get into immersion in, like, with a polygon. And it's just, I feel like such, like, a piece of crap, like, new age, like, only new things, and I really don't want to be that way. But I can't be the only person who, coming into an old game fresh, is nearly impossible.
When you don't have that sort of layer of nostalgia that these people have.
I can't. I feel that. I'm completely unable, and I wish I could just shut that part of my brain off, but I'm completely unable to jump in on stuff like New Vegas and just enjoy it for what it is, because some of those crucial elements, like that secret sauce of getting totally into it and being a little amazed at what they've done, that's not there anymore, because I've played worse games that looked better, and I can't help but compare them to New Vegas, and I hate it.
Yeah, unless there's like you almost have to find a certain mechanic or a certain thing that you, like, latch onto that works really, really well. And if you don't find that thing, it's super easy to just fall out. Like, I'm with you, dude. I'm with you. It's an ugly game now. It is not a play. And the Fallout games are intentionally ugly for that reason anyway. It's not like they were ever really trying to go for, like, graphical prowess,
but I will say, like, it's a more in-depth game, and the game goes deeper than things like Cyberpunk 2077. Certainly, like, the story is more fleshed out.
Yeah.
There's a lot more vibrant and filled side quests. But again, like, Cyberpunk is a worse game that looks miles better, and it's just easier to spend time in that world for me than spend time in the New Vegas world. And I've really tried, like, one of the things that I wanted to do, spending so much more time at home, was to jump into an RPG like New Vegas or 76 and see if I could push myself to play it. And I just can't get there. Like, the motivation is not there for me. And someone please just give it to me, because I want it really bad, but it's not there. So, yeah.
Activision confirms there's another Call of Duty coming this year. Didn't we just got Black Ops, didn't we?
Yeah, I did people forget that we get like a new Call of Duty every year like that? I feel like they really did well with Modern Warfare, and they could have just done that as a games as service game, and they could have maybe hit pause.
I forgot we are in like a new year now.
Yeah, but
of course there's one coming at the end
there's
of this
a
year.
new COD happening. Yeah. I don't know what sort of like fake conflict they're gonna sort of drum up now, but yeah, it's gonna be a thing.
Bro, I'm in on WandaVision now.
Yeah?
Have you started it at all?
I have not started it
Do
yet.
you guys even have Disney Plus?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, that's how I watched The Mandalorian.
So I was super not into like the first 2 episodes. Like they went for this sort of sitcom sort of vibe, and it's clear like we've already talked about this, but like I could tell that they were going somewhere with it, but it's like they couldn't get to the mystery fast enough for me.
The ramp up was slow.
You know, like I am one of those people that's like, this show is too slow.
Yeah.
At least for the first couple of episodes, and then they started to sort of dole out the mystery and the intrigue and the excitement a little bit faster in 3 and 4. 5 is super, super cool. It's where like they start delivering on a lot of those sort of mysteries.
Yeah.
There's this cameo at the end of it. Spoilers? No spoilers? Spoilers? I want to talk about it.
Yeah.
I know you don't care.
I don't care. Yeah.
So they bring back. So you're aware that like Wanda's brother died, right?
Yeah.
In the Avengers or whatever. Mm-hmm. So this is like a thing in this, and so WandaVision is essentially like her dealing with the grief and the loss of Vision, right?
Yeah.
So she's basically like invaded this small town, and she's set up like an idealized version of her life and reality where Vision is still alive and they have children and like everything is perfect.
It's a survival mechanic.
And so that's kind of the setup, right?
Yeah.
So we're at a point now in episode 5 where Vision is aware of what's going on and what's happening. He's like, yo, this is not okay what you're doing. Like you're not dealing with your grief appropriately. Yeah. She's like, actually, like the people there are real. Like they're residents of that town that she's like
taken over
in their heads, and she's taken over, and like So at the end of episode 5, her brother, in air quotes, comes back. Like he's at the front door now, but it's like recasted, so it's not the person that played her brother in Avengers. It's Evan Peters who plays Quicksilver. Is that right?
So
the fast guy, Quick.
Someone comment that. I'm not.
I think it's Quicksilver.
Yeah.
But he plays Quicksilver in the Fox X-Men movies.
Okay, yeah.
So now there's like a direct tie-in, and we knew that Disney had purchased the rights to X-Men, Fox, and all that stuff. But this is the first sort of direct tie-in to that. But it's weird because now we don't know like if that's her actual brother that's just recasted as Evan Peters, or if that's Quicksilver and it is like a direct tie-in to the Fox. Either way, I don't know. It's fucking weird. I don't really understand it, but it was one of those like incredible cameos where it's like, oh shit, like that's Evan Peters from the Fox like X-Men movies.
I like how weird the plot is. Like I'm cued in on what's going on with WandaVision. It's just one of those. It's one of those shows that I'm building up to watch. Like it's on my never-ending watch list, and I'm kind of almost wanting the first season to get finished so I can blow through it all in like a day. But I love that it's kind of borrowing from the more weirder like potential. Like this feels like a weird comic book arc. And I kind of hope that through Disney Plus we're getting more series like that, because the movies are really good. I don't mind Marvel movies, but I think that you can kind of explore some weirder, like, offbeat plot lines.
For sure.
And I think WandaVision, like that, I read comic books as a younger kid, and that reminds me just of these weird offshoot stuff that you saw with, like, the X-Men and sometimes even Spider-Man. I think that that's really cool.
Yeah, it's the same draw as what The Mandalorian sort of has, where it's like, you can get other creative voices involved on a series like this, where you can have like some weirder episodes that you wouldn't ordinarily get in like a movie or something like that.
Yeah,
you can get people like Taika Waititi, you know, involved in like his brain, like his take.
Give
on
me
property.
endless like one season series that have like a full arc with an ending that's actually satisfying. Yeah. Before you give me like 10 movies, like
I'm with you.
I would so much rather. The fact that Obi-Wan is getting a big, nice arc through Disney Plus makes me so happy.
Yeah.
And I hope that Star Wars and all of these IPs get the sort of hint that we would much rather have kind of a slower paced rollout of a complete series rather than cramming an entire story into like a 2-hour block. I would so much easier to cut. Yeah.
Yeah. So I love what they're doing with WandaVision now. I see where we're going with it, and I'm like, cool. Like, they're delivering a lot of this stuff. I love that it's so weird. I love that it's like something that we really have never seen before in the MCU. Mm-hmm. I want more of this shit. Yeah. Like, I want more creative takes like that. I think that can only be a good thing.
Yeah. Is it tying into the Doctor Strange movie that's coming out? I keep hearing like mixed things.
I have no idea. Okay. It's clear at this point that they're going for like a multiverse type situation with Spider-Man and Doctor Strange and like what they're doing there. And
they have enough
with the Fox tie-in.
I like the sort of idea that someone who has telekinetic abilities, them going through trauma and processing trauma, can have real-world effects outside of, just them dealing alone with it, because no one exists in a vacuum and in a bubble. Like, your actions affect others. And if you have telekinetic powers, I would think that processing a huge loss can be devastating for other people too, because that's going to be a problem. That reminds me of something like borrowed from the plotline of like The Boys or something.
Yeah, I mean, it's heartbreaking. Like, once you realize what she's doing, like to herself and to the people around her, like, oh, this is plausible. Like, somebody that has that much power. Yeah. Like, this is a valid way that somebody could react to a devastating loss in their life.
That's what I love about...
It's believable.
That's what I love that happens in The Boys, where they take sort of the Superman story
and... this is the worst angle.
I look like the smallest human being in the world when you're like lifted up like that.
Do you want to switch?
No, I feel good.
Okay.
Here, I'm locked in, buddy.
All right. I love sit on my lap.
No, I absolutely
let's do
do not.
That we're probably never going to do this again.
I think that we should do this every episode.
Sit on my lap.
I think that I'm not sitting.
Sit on my lap.
I'm absolutely not sitting. I like from The Boys where they take like the Superman storyline and actually give you a realistic depiction of what if a dude grew up his entire life never being told no because he is a weapon of mass destruction. Like that, of course he's a demented psychopath.
Yeah.
That there's no other end to that story at all. Pat, you can come sit on Jake's lap if you want to.
He would.
I'm
he
sorry.
Literally would. Bro, I've known Pat for like a couple of weeks at this point. Never met this lad in person. Pat would absolutely drive to Arkansas right now just to sit on my lap. I've known you for 10 plus years, and it's like I've just suggested you go out and kill a homeless man.
I was just
You would rather kill a homeless man than sit on my lap right now.
That's on record. I've said that multiple times.
And like, I understand. I'm a little sweaty right now. My breath probably doesn't smell the best.
We had McDonald's for breakfast, and that definitely set off.
That McDonald's slapped.
That set off. By the way, we watched someone steal from that McDonald's as we were going through
just some dude walking out with a cardboard box of like plastic spoons.
It kind of rocked. Like they were taking, like we were in the line, and of course it was taking 10 years. And a guy walked out holding this like box of plastic cutlery. And he was not wearing any McDonald's logo.
I assumed that he was from another McDonald's.
There's not a McDonald's remotely close to our town.
You're right. That was the only McDonald's in this area.
I don't know what happened.
He wasn't wearing a McDonald's uniform.
No.
I think that man looted a box of plastic spoons.
I think that was what happened. It was awesome. I was like, look at this guy just over his shoulder. There was no way that was not anything above.
We should have pulled a page from that book and seized the opportunity and gone in and see what else we can pull out of there. Maybe we could have pulled out a bunch of burgers or something.
We could be sitting here with a McDonald's half-functioning ice cream machine.
We just roll out of there with a whole ass like soft serve machine. It wouldn't work anyway. It never does. But
other people, the experience would not change at all for the existing McDonald's customers because they could just tell them honestly that the machine isn't working because it's not there anymore.
Yeah.
But people could come to my house and then I could tell them that the machine's broken. That'd be really cool. Just sit there.
Ice cream machine broke. Understandable. Have a nice day.
That McDonald's is wild because like I've never seen anything good happen remotely on that side of town at all.
Yeah.
Like so I live right on the border of Oklahoma and I don't know like if people just decide that this 80-foot stretch of territory in Arkansas is where everyone goes to have their fights and sell drugs, but like that McDonald's and then like that smaller Quick Mart next to it, I have only seen illegal activities happening there at all, including today where a guy stole the box.
Sounds about right. You're on the border of Oklahoma. We established that.
I mean, like, it's not even necessarily a knock on Oklahoma, but we did see a guy that has like 12 skulls attached to his truck drive past us this morning, which was pretty cool. But
yeah, that was rad. There are like 4 different kinds of skulls. Yeah, a skull has like what do you call the little nub on the back of a truck?
The trailer hitch.
Trailer hitch.
You are an alpha male. The little nub on the back of a car. Dude,
that's a little truck nubbin, you know?
Dude, that's some Sigma male. That's a Sigma male energy move right there.
It's a little...
Not even alpha. That's where...
It's a Chevrolet Silverado truck dongle.
A truck dongle. Yeah, that's the lightning port for his truck. He can charge it that way.
The chat looks like shit. I'm gonna hide it again. Never mind.
The chat rocks.
Oh, it's on like a white background. I can't even see it anyway. What's the point?
I like your incessant need to both lift yourself up, adjust chat, move around. If there's like a time lapse of this podcast, I have stayed perfectly still, and you have moved 40 feet in 2 directions.
I'm just not comfortable. I can't get comfortable. I'm in a new place.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
I'm sweaty. I don't like the way my stomach looks right. We're going back down. We're going back down. We're going back down.
That's solid. We could let the chat tell where like a good camera angle is for you. That would be good. Yeah.
What else happened this week?
Man, like I've just been following the life has been just leaps and bounds better now that we have a new president. I can tell definitely, my $2,000 check has come in the mail. Everything's fixed now, so it's been great.
For sure.
Life is perfect now. No problems. Her coronavirus is over. Like, that's done. So everything has just been great.
We have PS5s in ready supply. You can
PS5
just go out, pick one up.
On deck.
Series X.
It's been great.
Plenty of those now. Nobody wants it anyway.
3 of those now, too. It's been really awesome.
We can talk about... I've been playing Resident Evil 7 on stream. I've actually not been hating it.
I can't believe we didn't talk about that yet. Yeah, so give me a rundown. I thought that you were actually going to die on stream playing Resident Evil.
So I have like an irregular heartbeat as it is anyway. So not probably the best life choice to start playing a game that's notorious for jump scares and shit.
To be drinking Bang Energy while you do that.
While doing that? Yeah. I mean, bad life choices... a running theme in my life.
Sure.
So this is no different.
Yes.
I'm enjoying it a lot, though. And I don't really know why. I think, and part of it is because like I have more patience when I play video games now, largely thanks to Sekiro, playing through that game and finishing it. Like that was such a valuable lesson.
That was an impactful game for you.
I think it really was. In patience and like perseverance and like not getting frustrated and quitting immediately.
You made your own sword after you finished that game.
Yep.
You tri-folded a Japanese katana after you finished that game. So it was really cool to see.
Yeah, no, it's canon. That's canon.
I'm proud of you.
That's my life canon. Yeah, for sure. But I'm enjoying it a lot. So I mean, it came out a few years ago. So like some aspects of it, like especially the outside of the house, for whatever reason, looked a little bit dated.
Yeah.
But I'm getting like I love like the PT vibes. I love the Outlast vibes. It is a very spooky game. There's some things that like the last thing I did in that game. So I snuck into the house, right? Daddy is I think his name is just Daddy right now. I don't know if he has an actual name.
He's credited as Daddy.
Yeah, so Daddy is trying to get you with a variety of weapons.
Yeah.
And there's like a chainsaw battle, and I have
cool.
no like. It's a cool concept for sure. Like he kicks you down into this.
Does that translate well into mouse and keyboard and chainsaw battle?
Some things in this game do not translate well at all to mouse and keyboard. Yeah. So I've kind of been like alternating between controller and like the like mini games thing where you have to align a coin or an object.
Oh, that requires like you can tell they wanted an analog,
and it doesn't work well on mouse at all. So you like I have to switch to a controller, and a lot of times there will be like a pressing need to do that puzzle while somebody is like chasing you, so you have to like unlock something quickly, and using a mouse just adds a layer of fear that I don't need in my life.
Right. Yeah. I get that. But overall, it's been kind of a good experience.
Yeah, so I was saying with the chainsaw fight, I did not have a good time with that at all. So that took me like 30, 45 minutes, and it's like there's no real mechanic here. So he picks up a chainsaw. You have like whatever, you have a gun and a knife basically. Mm-hmm. The gun doesn't really do it. I don't think you can actually damage him at all during this part. But like, so for the first like 10 minutes of this fight, he's just coming at you with a chainsaw, and all you're supposed to do there is dodge this guy until... No, I'm sorry, he doesn't have the chainsaw yet. I'm butchering this story. He has like an axe or a pickaxe or something.
I'm enjoying the entire experience.
He's coming at you with a pickaxe or something.
Yes.
And your sole objective there is to dodge enough until it just magically breaks on something.
Okay, yeah.
So that, in and of itself, I didn't enjoy that.
Well, you can't WASD very effectively like a quick dodge situation.
It's literally like, so there's one pillar in the middle of the room, and then there are like these bodies that are like hanging
and you have to like strafe around the pillar?
That literally just running in circles around the pillar while this guy chases you with a pickaxe.
That rocks.
That's literally it for the first 10 minutes of the fight. And I couldn't fit, because I was trying to figure out, I was like, am I supposed to kick the bodies into him, and like, because that's something that you can do, then maybe he'll eventually drop the axe or something. I was trying to align myself alongside this like pipe and like cause him to swing it and break it. None of that shit worked. So it's just like, it's just supposed to magically break on its own.
It's an exercise in patience.
So figure that out, and once the axe breaks, he goes and opens this fence thing, and he gets this chainsaw. And then you're supposed to go get another chainsaw that's in that area. And there's this really cool, like, the concept is cool. Like, you're having a chainsaw battle with a fucking, demon guy or whatever. But the fight itself is not fun at all. Like, it's just not designed very well, I feel. But the rest of it is cool. Like, it's basically like hide and seek in a really creepy house with a bunch of, like, southern racist, Louisianan psychopaths.
It could be our lived experience as people who have grown up in the South. Like
it honestly doesn't feel that far off. It feels like it could have just been a Thanksgiving at the.
Who among us hasn't been in a sketchy southern house that we've hid from racist rednecks?
100%.
It's been
110%.
I feel like the Resident Evil games, like the mechanics that you're talking about, anytime that I've played one, it's felt like a genre of its own. Like the controls, the way that pistols and weapons work in that universe are completely different than if you're used to playing just a normal first-person shooter or even a third-person shooter, where like the guns, like I've watched you play Resident Evil and like you've shot into someone's head and it didn't instantly kill them like it should have, and I think that that's just kind of something to adjust to.
Yeah, I mean, it's a different experience altogether because it's a lot of times designed in such a way to kind of work against you in a way. Like, there's very little aim assist, right? Yeah. There's very little any of that shit. So, like, it intentionally makes it harder on you.
Yeah.
Because it's, that just goes into, like, the survival horror aspect of that. Yeah. Like, it wants you to waste your ammo, all of your ammo on a specific kind of enemy. Yeah. There are these black mold creatures that I fucking hate.
Not good?
They're not,
not a good time.
They're terrifying, first of all.
Yeah.
There's this area where you go down into a boiler room, and it's like this really small claustrophobic area, and they just start, like, you have to get across the room, and they just start spawning and coming out of the walls and the ceiling and, like, through the floor, and there's, like, 6 of them, and you just have to, like, bob and weave and get to the door unlock. Dude, the process of unlocking doors, especially when you're being chased, is the most nerve-wracking thing because you have to open your inventory. This is all in real time. Like, it's not a pause screen.
Right.
So you have to open your inventory, find the key, like, all of the icons look vaguely similar, find the right key, unlock the door while you can hear these, like, disgusting noises coming from just over your shoulder.
Well, they do audio incredibly well. Like, I remember playing the PT demo with my, like, Sony headphones, and hearing stuff just right behind you. I've never played a game like Resident Evil and PT where if someone is behind you, it feels like they are breathing on your neck. And they do the audio in those games so well. So I can definitely understand how unlocking a door in like a hectic chase sequence like that can be an absolute nightmare and a half. But yeah, like the only creepy game that I've remotely been playing has been Control, and that's not even that spooky to me. Because I grew up watching X-Files and watched X-Files all through high school.
X-Files is spooky.
And
spooky vibes.
Control just feels so much like I'm Fox Mulder or Scully just playing through a game, but I have telekinetic ability. Yeah. And it rocks. Like, I'm not at all closely through Control yet, but I love the universe and I love the lore of the oldest house. It's the coolest thing in the world to me. So that's kind of the only thing that
the whole idea of like this whole supernatural thing being set up inside of like an office space.
Yeah.
It's such a cool idea.
Yeah, and then like the U.S. government having this sort of like rogue branch of supernatural, like a supernatural division, is the coolest thing in the world to me. I can definitely tell. Like, I follow a streamer who Control is his like favorite game of all time, to the point that he's collected like every physical media he can of this game, and I get it because it's one of those worlds that you can really get sucked in and be totally nerdy about. Like, I know people who are that way with Skyrim, and I think that I could easily be this way with Control. It's just, you can go down the rabbit hole with that indefinitely. It's
if Cyberpunk were a little bit better, I think I would be that way with Cyberpunk. Because, like, I love the setting, I love the vibe, I love all that shit.
Well, yeah, we were looking at, like, the design, like, the tattoo sheets. Like,
if it had just, like, executed the gameplay a little bit better, and it was, like, didn't feel like it was working against you in so many cases, like, I feel like I would probably be one of those people with that game. But
I'm still waiting on a point where that game feels like what they wanted it to be, and I don't know when that's going to be for me, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to fully appreciate it once it's been come out, because the initial experience has been so soured for me. But like, my buddy Nate has talked about how he wants to come back to it later in 2021, like maybe in the fall or winter, when like the more updates have come out. But I just don't know. Like, I don't know.
Props to those people that can do that and like return to games that came out. But like, and I think you're the same way, but like I'm so like, I have to be in a mood to play a game, right? And so often like that time is when a game first comes out and I'm playing it, and if that game doesn't like vibe with me, more times than not, like, I'm not gonna wait around for you to like make the game the intended version of what you wanted, and maybe I return to it, but more times than not, like, I've moved on with myself. Like, I'm on to other games, other products, you know?
Yeah, it's really difficult, especially when that initial offering is very, like, so apparently incomplete. And I think that kind of breaks my heart for the people that are really, really into it, and the designers who really wanted the game to succeed. I think that it sucks for them because they really had no control over how much the marketing set their expectations. And I kind of hate that for everyone. The Cyberpunk thing is never going to not be sad to me.
Why are we talking about Cyberpunk again?
That needs to be like a rule that we can't, we have to put like...
We don't talk about Cyberpunk.
We need to have like a $50 collection charge.
Or that we can only talk about.
Yeah. It's either only talking about it or not talking about it at all. Because we can go down.
Can we talk about this? Because I hate this shit. So... this is from Kotaku. After years of trying, Warner Brother Games has successfully patented Shadow of Mordor's Nemesis system. So for years, we've been saying, like, damn, this game would be so cool if it just had this system from the other game. Because what they did with the Nemesis system in terms of, like, having all of these sort of in-game mini-bosses that would, like, if they killed you, they would level up, and there was this whole ranking system involved. Was so cool. And I'm trying to think of other games where, like, they would... Ghost of Tsushima was one, where it was, like, you have all these, like, roaming generals and stuff in the game world. It was, like, that's a game that would really benefit from having that sort of mechanic. Turns out that hasn't happened because Warner Brothers, like, has a chokehold grip on this specific gameplay mechanic.
And I'm going to slow it down for those that don't understand what we're talking about. There's a system in Shadow of Mordor where if kind of a smaller level boss kills you, they get more powerful and they kind of go up in the rankings of all the bosses. And you can mess around and accidentally create like an in-game level boss just from dying to one specific guy. So you find yourself going like, oh god, Grugnor the Destroyer has now gone from lieutenant to master commander. And it's a really cool system. And it's one of the things, I'm not so much like a sword parry kind of guy, but it's one of those things in that game specifically that I really kind of enjoyed. So they've patented that.
So after trying multiple times since 2015, Warner Brother Games has successfully secured a patent on the Nemesis system featured in Shadow of Mordor and its sequel, Shadow of War. This patent goes into effect later this month. As reported by IGN on February 3rd, the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office released an issue notice confirming that Warner Brother Games' patent on the system was approved and would become effective officially on February 23rd, 2021.
I kind of hate this. That kind of bums me out.
Just the idea, because, like, games is an art form and a creative expression. So the idea, like, can you imagine like a painter or a sculptor or something literally patenting like a new like a new way of painting or a new form of sculpting? Like, this specific art form is exclusive to me or to like my business.
A musician copywriting a specific syncopation, like that's really rough.
It's the same sort of idea, and it's so shitty, and it has no place in the industry. Period. And I don't know if this is a common thing, if there are other companies that have also done this, and we're just singling out Warner Brothers because this is just a new thing. But is this common?
I have no idea. And I'm wondering how much wiggle room you're going to have in your game, especially if... Yeah, like...
It would be like if Sony patented ray tracing.
Yeah. Pat. And I don't know how much wiggle room you're going to be able to get, because you know that they're going to find some way to kind of do it, but it's just going to be a little bit different, probably not as good. Yeah. And that, I would almost have them not try that at all, because that's such a uniquely cool system that...
But it's like it's how things get better, and it's how we improve and push the industry forward.
Yeah.
You know, like, you're essentially removing the option for other people, other creative minds
to innovate
and to push the industry forward. It's so shitty. It has no place anyway.
Yeah. I'm hoping that in stretching it and trying to copy it without getting sued, maybe we do actually get some of that innovation. I was just reading about one of the bigger tech industry cities in China, where all of like the knockoff products of like... Yeah. Like that's where like Xiaomi was created, in these like cities where it was a lot of knockoff technology, and that actually pushes the industry as a whole further, because they're trying to find all these creative ways to do what Apple is doing without getting complete and total blatant knockoff.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that maybe they'll trick themselves into getting like pushed out of the market anyway, because someone finds a better system.
Yeah. Or like, I don't know. Like, I would have to like read the patent, but can you just like slightly alter the mechanics of the system and call it something else and be totally fine?
I would hope like, that there's some version of that.
Did like this specific thing, because I don't know, it's so weird. Like, surely you don't own the rights to anything that remotely resembles a ranking system of in-game like bosses.
Yeah.
It's so weird to me.
I could see it both ways. I would hope that they're not ignorant enough to basically lock in a progression system for like PC enemies just alone. I don't see that happening. So yeah, it does kind of stink that they kind of jumped in with a pretty good version of it and then said, like, nope, we can't push this any further than what we've done. Because now that they've got the market on it, what's their incentive to sort of, like, innovate it and make that better? Like, because they've got the market.
They're just going to sit on it.
Yeah, so they're just going to sit and maybe just recreate that over and over again. So.
Or it's going to be, I don't know.
Yeah.
There's a Golem or Smeagol, I don't know, I think it's called, I don't know what it's called. There's like a game that's just revolves around Smeagol that's coming out, so maybe we see the system come back in that. But like,
maybe we'll get a VR port of that, and you can just grasp for things.
It feels like a VR game. It feels like something I'm not excited about. Yeah. I'm desperately combing through IGN's newsfeed here, trying to find other things that happened this week. Coming up with nothing.
Yeah, that's okay.
The Prince of Persia remake got delayed. That was a thing.
Yeah, we've talked about how mostly everything is probably going to still be delayed this year. And I think that it's okay to set our expectations for that.
Yeah. Like, I'm trying to prepare myself now for the fact that God of War 2 is not going to come out this year.
Oh.
There is no way.
No.
Because all we have right now is like a few seconds of a teaser and a title on a screen. No. We haven't even seen gameplay of this thing.
Whatever AAA game you are expecting to launch at any given point this year, it's not going to happen at that date at least. Like, whatever date they've given you so far, add probably 2 to 6 months on that. Like, it's not going to happen. And I hate thinking that way, but I really don't expect anything to launch on time this year, because we're still kind of in this weird mix now where there's a vaccine rolling out, production lines might get better in some areas, they might suck in worse. Like, yeah, it's hard.
Well, I mean, and it's like, you know, just because even if, assuming the pandemic ends this year, this summer, like, that doesn't mean the effects of the last year or two is like, you know, like, we're gonna feel this for the next the next year easily.
There's
like,
a knock on.
Affected things, you know. So yeah, I'm with you.
It's gonna be hard. We've been hitting it hard though. I mean, we've talked about the Mass Effect. We've talked about your Resident Evil experience and how you're not dead yet.
Not dead yet.
Do you plan on finishing that whole game on the stream?
Probably. Yeah, like that's the plan anyway.
Is this ramping up to the new version where you can see?
That's kind of the plan. Yeah.
Our tall lady.
And I may, like, depending on how much I like this, I may like, because I have Resident Evil 2, didn't finish it because that game is, I think, even more terrifying because of who's the main guy in that, Mr. X. He's also like 10 feet tall, just no Mommy Milkies. But he's just as terrifying. Like, he's gigantic. And
I want to claw my own eyeballs out every time we talk about this.
I was joking with Jared that for our merch we should we should release a dummy thick branded breast pump.
No, we absolutely should not. Let it go on record that live today I've said no, absolutely not. But
some Mommy Milkies for the boys, you know?
Thanks for watching the podcast today, guys.
Selling it with our faces on it.
Thanks so much for listening to the podcast.
I'm just saying.
It's been great to hang out with you. I'm going to go jump into traffic. Good
all right.
gosh.
Are we ending it there? It seemed like you were capping it off there.
I'm desperately trying to avoid the Lady Drimiscu talk because in the way that you feel about Cyberpunk, that's about how I feel about people simping over a giant lady on the internet.
It's so weird.
It makes me very uncomfortable.
Like, where did it come from? And it's permeated even like TikTok and like areas outside of gaming. Mm-hmm. People that aren't gonna play like this game at all are aware of the tall vampire lady.
I think that it's just everyone has been inside all year and people are just nuts.
I love the internet.
I think everyone's lost their mind.
Such a good time.
It's a good time to be on the internet. Yeah.
All right. Well, we can cap it there.
It's been a fun in-person
Sit on my
episode.
lap.
I'm not going to
sit on my lap, and then we'll end the podcast.
I'll climb up on your shoulders.
No. Why is that better?
I don't know.
That's dangerous.
Feels like it's going to be a better use of my time.
Sit on my lap, Isaac.
Sitting on the shoulders. Climbing up.
How is it? I'm nervous. There's so much expensive equipment here.
Whoop!
All right, I'll hold this.
Yep. You're gonna. Okay. Oh fuck! We got it. Dummy thick.
Dummy thick.
Let's go. Can you end a stream?
Yeah, I think so.
Let's go.
Do you see the vein popping out of my head right now?
Right there.
Yeah.
That rocks.
All right.